Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update this channel daily. If you like this watch, see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the Glashutte Original Senator Chronometer, a German chronometer, which is to say it's made in Germany and its chronometer status is certified in Germany. 42 millimeters in white gold on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. This ultra-accurate timekeeper is 42 millimeters in diameter versus 48.8 millimeters lug-to-lug versus 12.5 millimeters in thickness, which is to say, due to the constrained lug-to-lug dimension, though it's a 42, it can wear well on wrists as small as 14 centimeters in circumference, and because of its slim profile, easily slide underneath a dress cuff. The spacing between the lugs is 21 millimeters, should you wish to accessorize, but I advise you to keep the factory strap, as the strap is richly appointed and substantial. It conforms to the end of the case, so you have a closing of the gap between the two and no daylight showing for a highly integrated coherent look. Substantial at its root, it thins out for flexibility as it moves away. Folded edge, monotone stitch, black, large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top for durability, and on the underside, supple calfskin. The clasp, like the watch, and perhaps even the strap itself, a little bit over-engineered, more substantial than it needs to be. It inspires confidence. The timepiece using a double fold clasp, less likely to pinch a small wrist. I appreciate that. Note the triple finish. Polish, satin, and media blasting. You'll also note that there is a hidden trigger release system with twin triggers on the underside of the clasp to allow instantaneous release when you want, but absolute security when you need it. That's the advantage of twin triggers. It's more secure than a clamshell. It's also more expensive and premium than a clamshell, and far superior to any friction fit system. You will note that the case is beautifully detailed, all of high polish. There is a step between the lugs and the case to break up the mass of metal, a strong character line formed by the horizontal junction of the bezel and the case band. The bezel itself is minimalist, but nicely articulated with a double step and two character lines running circumferentially. You can see they're polished, they're sharp, they're creased. They give a little bit more definition to a mass of metal that could easily become monotone on a silver-dialed white metal watch. Geo avoids that with a few well-chosen character lines and seams. But it's the dial that really sets this watch apart. And you will note, not only is the dial made in-house at Geo's Pforzheim dial manufacturer, but it's a combination of filled wells, engraving, galvanizing, and varnish. So let's go over that. The base is galvanized. Then it's etched to create the image of the stylized Roman numerals outboard. Those are then filled with a black lacquer, and finally, a white varnish is applied to the entirety of the dial to create this fine silver matte granular texture. It's gorgeous at arm's length. It's absolutely sensational under a loop. It's one of the few dials that's worthy of being looped. You'll also note, nicely balanced, a countersunk set of sub-registers, a large small seconds dial. That's a bit of a oxymoron or a contradiction in terms, but that's what it is, a large sub-dial with constant seconds. Mini railroad track for constant seconds, macro railroad track for the minutes, and you will note the timepiece featuring a power reserve scale for its power reserve of exactly 44 hours and 50 minutes per the Teutonic folks at Glashutte Original. That does seem very German as a rated power reserve. 44 hours and 50 minutes, and sharing space on that scale, you'll see there's a small dimple that is your AM/PM indicator, so you know whether you're looking at day or night. See how the time is approaching 4, and it is a watchmaker's 4? Well, you'll know whether that's 4 a.m. or 4 in the evening thanks to the AM/PM indicator. And this watch has the world's best zero reset second system. Not only does it stop the balance, not only does it reset the seconds, but it also zeroes the minute hand to the closest minute and then allows you to move the minute hand in 1 minute steps to synchronize to a reference time. That should be the new industry standard for stop seconds and setting modes. There's a panorama datum, a flush set of discs that comprise a double-digit date with their own elegant stepped aperture, and a pusher on the flank to allow you to adjust that indication. Turn it all over, and you can see the manufacturer caliber 5801. Let's get as good a focus as we can, because this one deserves it. Made in-house, it is a twin mainspring barrel manual wind chronometer in the German paradigms, which is to say it receives the twin certificates of German chronometer certification based on the ISO 3159 that governs the COSC, but applied to the fully cased up movement and watch, that is the completed timepiece, whereas the COSC only assigns a chronometer certificate to the movement. There is a difference, and handling and casing can make all of the difference to the final user. Geo takes no chances. Manually wound, you can see it is adjusted in a chronometer standard 5 positions, and it features a freehand engraved half bridge for the balance, which beats away at 8 beats per second or 4 hertz, 28,800 vibrations per hour. You'll note 5 ATM water resistance, solidly more than the 2 to 3 ATM that's a standard for the dress watch class. You'll also note that the architecture of the movement is very much in the fashion of vintage chronometers and vintage German watches in particular, while the dial is inspired by the deck clocks or navigation chronometers built by the predecessor companies of Glashutte Original in the 19th century and early 20th century. The caseback is inspired by old German pocket watches generally, as you have the three-quarter style bridge redolent of pocket watches. You have the jewels set in chaton, which are then fixed in place by kiln-fired oxidized blued screws, because back in the pocket watch days, you didn't have the precision to drill a plate and press a jewel quite as precisely as needed to make them functional parts of the movement. So, for the sake of precision, the chaton would be manufactured with the finest equipment available at the time to the tightest tolerances possible, and it would then be fixed in a larger drilling within the plate using the screws and then removed for subsequent service. You have that three-quarter profile graced by Glashutte stripes, because we are not in Switzerland, they are not Côte de Genève, and you'll note not only is there a freehand engraved half bridge, so no two are exactly alike, but there's a tight engine-turned perlage just beneath the balance and a black polished swan's neck fine adjustment regulator to adjust for beat error atop the balance structure. Also, twin mainspring barrels, one with the visible planetary system that is used to create leverage during winding, the twin intermediate wheels that couple the two of them, and you'll note there's a double spiral pattern on the ratchet wheel for the first barrel that acts as a sort of signature of the individual who does nothing but create those double spiral patterns in the workshop. That is a special hand-finished component that is particularly unique to Glashutte watch manufacture. Nomos also does that. It's a signature of Saxon watchmaking in the 21st century, as well as a nod to the 19th and the 20th. You can see all of this and put it on your wrist on the watch box.